Somewhere out there right now is a person who earns the exact same paycheck as you, same number hitting the same kind of account on the same kind of Friday. And that person is quietly getting rich, not because they're smarter than you, not because they found some secret investment or cut coupons or gave up their morning coffee. They didn't win anything. They didn't inherit anything. The only difference between you and them is the order they touch their money in the first 10 minutes after they get paid. That's it. That's the whole thing. Here's what should bother you. On payday, most people feel rich for about a day. The number's the biggest, it'll be all month. And then rent, a couple of taps of the card, a subscription you forgot you had, dinner because you earned it. And by the next week, it's just gone. And if someone asked you where it went, honestly, you couldn't tell them. Meanwhile, the other person moved a few $100s into the right places in the right order before they let themselves spend a single cent. Same paycheck, same morning, completely different life 10 years from now. I'm going to show you their exact order. 5 moves in sequence. The whole thing takes about 10 minutes, and once you set it up, most of it happens on its own while you sleep. By the end of this video, you're going to know something about payday that most people never figure out, not because it's hard, but because nobody ever told them the order. Let's start with why you've been losing. Here's the advice you've heard your whole life. Make a budget, track your spending, save whatever's left over at the end of the month. It sounds responsible. It sounds like the smart, grown-up thing to do. And it is the single biggest reason you're not building wealth. Think about what that advice actually tells you to do. It tells you to pay for everything else first. The rent, the bills, the groceries, the fun, the little things. And then if there's anything left at the very end, to save that. But you already know how that story ends because there's never anything left. There's always one more thing, one more bill, one more emergency, one more treat yourself. The leftover is always zero. You are being told to pay yourself last. And when you pay yourself last, you pay yourself nothing. The person getting rich on your exact salary, flip that. They pay themselves first, before the rent, before the fun, before they even look at what's in the account. The money for their future comes off the top automatically the second the paycheck lands. And they live on what's left instead of saving what's left. Same income, same expenses, roughly. But the order is reversed, and that reversal is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars over a lifetime. So forget budgeting first. We're not starting there. We're starting the moment the money hits. The 10-minute window that decides everything. Here's move number 1. The very first thing the wealthy on a normal salary person does is split the paycheck before they can touch it. Not budget it, not think about it, split it automatically. Here's why this matters more than anything else in this video. You have been told over and over that if you just had more discipline, more willpower, you'd finally save money. That is a lie. Willpower is a terrible way to run your money because willpower runs out. You're tired, you had a hard week, the thing is on sale, and the discipline you were counting on just isn't there. So we don't use willpower, we use automation. The move is simple. You set up an automatic transfer through your bank. It takes about 5 minutes. That moves a set amount out of your checking account the same day your paycheck arrives. Straight into savings, straight into investing, somewhere you have to make a decision to reach instead of somewhere you'll spend by accident. The magic isn't the amount. When you start, it might be $50. It might be $20. The magic is that it happens before you see the money as spendable. You never feel it leave because it was never really there. You can't spend what you can't see. And here's the beautiful part. The part that should make you exhale a little. Once this is set up, you're done. You don't have to be disciplined every single payday for the rest of your life. You have to be disciplined once for 5 minutes today. The system carries it from there. That's the shift. Stop trying to be a better person with money. Build a system that works even on your worst day. Now, where does that money you just split off actually go first? And that's move 2, and it's the one people leave on the table every single payday without realizing it. There is free money on your payday, real money, and most people walk right past it. If you have a job with a retirement plan on a 401k in the US or something like it, there's a very good chance your employer offers a match. That means for every dollar you put in, up to a limit, they put in $1 too. sometimes 50 cents on the dollar, sometimes dollar for dollar. Stop and really hear what that is. That is an instant, guaranteed 50 to 100% return on your money. There's no investment on earth that reliably does that. Not stocks, not crypto, not real estate, nothing. And it's just sitting there on your payday waiting. And every single payday, you don't take it. That money doesn't roll over. It's gone, vanished. You just handed back a raise you already earned. Let me make it real. Say your employer matches up to a few $100s a month and you're not contributing. That's a few $100s every month. That was yours that you're leaving on the table. Over a year, that's thousands. Over a career with growth on top, that single mistake can cost you a house. So the second thing you do with your split off money is capture that full match. Not more than the match yet. We've got other moves first, but every cent of the free part. That's the priority. But I don't have a match, some of you are thinking. Okay, then this move becomes open the retirement account anyway. A Roth IRA if you can, because the second best thing to free money is money that grows for decades without the tax man taking a cut on the way out. Either way, the principle is the same. Before you fund your fears, before you attack your debts, you grab what's free, because free never comes back. Now we build the thing that stops you from ever sliding backwards. Move 3. I want you to picture something for a second. It's a normal week, and then the car makes a sound, or the tooth starts throbbing, or the message comes that your hours are getting cut, and the repair, the bill, the gap, it's $900. Now picture opening your banking app and seeing a balance that can't cover it, that specific cold drop in your stomach. Most people know that feeling intimately, and when it happens, they do the only thing they can. They reach for the credit card. And just like that, they're in a hole that takes months to climb out of, paying interest on a bad day for the next year. That is how people get trapped. Not from one giant catastrophe, from a normal $100, $900 life event that they had no cushion for. So move 3 is where you build that cushion, your starter buffer. We're not talking about 6 months of expenses yet. That comes later. And if I told a beginner to save 6 months before doing anything else, they'd give up in week 2. We're talking about $1,000. A starter emergency fund, $1,000 sitting in a separate savings account, boring, untouched, doing nothing but waiting. Because here's what that $1,000 really is. It's not an investment, it's a wall. It's the wall between a bad day and a bad year. When the car makes the sound, you don't panic. You don't reach for the card. You just handle it. And then you quietly refill the buffer over the next few paydays. Feel the difference between those two versions of you. One flinches every time the phone rings. The other one is calm because there's $1,000 standing between them and disaster. That calm is the whole point of this move. Get that starter buffer in place before you do the next thing, because the next thing is where almost everybody gets the order wrong. Now, some of you have been shouting at the screen for the last few minutes. Wait a second. I've got a credit card at 24% interest, and you're telling me to save $1,000 before I pay it off? That's insane. Shouldn't I kill the debt first? It's a fair fight, and I want to settle it, because this is exactly the kind of ordering question that separates people who get ahead from people who spin their wheels. Here's the answer. If you throw every last dollar at the debt with zero buffer behind you, what happens the first time the car makes that sound? You have no cash. So you reach for the same credit card you've been killing yourself to pay down. And now you're adding to the pile faster than you're clearing it. You feel like you're failing, and you quit. The $1,000 buffer isn't a distraction from your debt. It's the thing that lets you stay out of debt while you destroy it. It stops the bleeding so the surgery can actually work. So, buffer first. Then move 4. You attack the expensive debt with everything you've got. And I mean the expensive debt specifically. Anything with a high interest rate, and think roughly 8-10% and up. Credit cards, payday loans, that kind of thing. This is money leaking out of your life every single month for nothing, and paying it off is the highest guaranteed return you will ever get. Wiping out a 24% debt is like earning 24% risk-free. Show me the investment that beats that. You throw your extra money at the highest rate debt first, minimums on the rest, and when the first one dies, you roll everything onto the next. It picks up speed. It's brutal, and it's beautiful. And this right here is the order the person getting rich on your salary understood, and you didn't. Not because they're smarter, because somebody showed them the sequence. Once that expensive debt is dead, you circle back and grow the buffer to a full 3 months. Then everything you were throwing at the debt is suddenly free. And that's where the last move comes in. So far, this has probably sounded like a lot of discipline: split it, capture it, buffer it, attack the debt. And if that were the whole system, you'd burn out, because a plan with no joy in it is a plan you quit. So here's the move nobody expects me to say. Some of your money is allowed to just be fun, on purpose, with zero guilt. Move 5 is where you give every remaining dollar a job, and one of those jobs is enjoying your life. Let me explain, because the order inside this move matters too. First, sinking funds. This is a fancy phrase for a simple idea. Money you set aside a little at a time for things you know are coming. The holidays, car repairs, a trip. Christmas doesn't sneak up on you in December. It arrives on the exact same date every year. So you put a little aside each payday, and when it comes, it's already handled. No stress, no card. Then, investing. With your match captured, your buffer full, and your expensive debt dead, the money you have left is free to actually grow. This is where you go beyond the free match and start putting money into simple, low-cost index funds, the boring, proven engine of almost every quiet fortune, month after month, automatically, the same way you set up Move 1, and finally, the fun. A set amount every payday. That is yours to spend on whatever you want. No justification required. Because that's the fuel that makes this whole machine survive past month 2. The people who succeed with money aren't the ones who deprive themselves of everything. They're the ones who automated the important stuff so completely that the leftover money is genuinely free to enjoy. That's the secret hiding in the order. Do the 5 moves in sequence, and spending money stops being something you feel guilty about because you already took care of future you first. Now let me show you what this actually turns into. Let's jump forward 1 year. Your paycheck hasn't changed. Same job, same number, same Friday, but payday feels completely different now. The money lands, and before you've even had your coffee, it's already splitting itself up. The free match is captured. That's a raise you're no longer throwing away. There's $1,000 sitting quietly behind you, so when life makes a sound, you don't flinch anymore. The expensive debt that used to sit on your chest at 2 a.m. is either shrinking fast or already gone. There's money growing in an index fund that you barely think about. There's a little pot for the holidays, so December doesn't hurt. And there's fun money in your account that you get to spend without that guilty little voice in the back of your head, because you know the important stuff is already handled. You didn't get a windfall. You didn't get lucky. You didn't even work more hours. You just changed the order. Remember that person from the beginning, the one earning your exact salary who was quietly getting rich? Look in the mirror. That's you now. That was always the difference, not the income, the order. And the wild part is how small the daily effort actually is. You set the system up once, you spend an afternoon making decisions, and now the machine runs whether you're motivated or not, whether you're having a good month or a terrible one. That's the power of doing things in the right sequence. It stops depending on you being perfect. So let's bring it all the way back. 5 moves in order in the first 10 minutes after you get paid. 1, split it before you spend it automatically. 2, grab the free money, the full match. 3, build your $1,000 buffer. 4, burn the expensive debt. 5, to give every leftover dollar a job, including the job of making your life good right now. That's it. That's the entire thing that separates the person quietly getting rich from the person wondering where it all went. Same paycheck, different order. And here's what I want you to actually do, because a video you agree with and forget is worthless. This Friday, or whenever your next payday lands, you don't have to do all 5. You just have to do move 1. Set up a single automatic transfer. $50, $20. Whatever won't scare you. Just start the split. That one move this week puts you ahead of almost everyone. The paycheck didn't change. The order did. And the order is completely 100% in your control. If this made the order finally click for you, do me one favor. Hit subscribe, because the next video breaks down exactly where to send that money once it's growing step by step, and drop a comment telling me which of the 5 moves you're setting up first. I'll see you in the next one.